After I recorded the Van Persie piece and put it out there, I got a few listens, a few likes, a few comments. Some people asking if I have any info, if I could tell any info on what happened with Fabregas when he left. I think a lot of this has already been put out there. So I don't know if you've heard it. I don't know if you've not. I'm not claiming to know anything special, but you just may have missed this, or it may not be in the public eye, or you may have to search for it, but for it to be out there. So someone joked the story starts with the little boy inside of him wanting to play for Barcelona. That much is true. You all know that. Cesc wanted the move back and pretty much engineered it himself. Obviously, once he knew Barcelona were interested, which, to be honest, at the time they were always going to be with the ability he had. Obviously, he's still a great player as much as I dislike him. The guy can play football. Anyway, back on to him leaving. So all summer he told the club he was going. Regardless of what the club said no. He still told him he was going. He was very single-minded in the fact that he was going, and he wasn't going to listen to anything otherwise. It hurt Wenger a lot because he was Wenger's golden boy. We all know Wenger likes giving people a chance and favouring youth, but Cesc was the one that made it. The first one, really. Ashley Cole arguably, but the first of the Wenger era youth players to come through and really become, I would say, world class was Cesc. So he was Wenger's pride and joy, to be honest. So Cesc engineering a move hurt him. Wenger was quite stubborn on it in that he wasn't going to let him go. For once, not for once, I'm a Wenger fan, but I actually don't blame Wenger in this exit. Cesc completely engineered it himself. It got to the point where Arsenal were just not budging, saying we're not selling you. Fabregas made it very clear he wanted to leave, but he wouldn't hand in a transfer request because his loyalty bonus was massive. I know about this because a journalist I used to work with, who is very unreliable and pretty much useless, had some quite good contacts, and I was in the room when he was speaking to Darren Dean, who was Fabregas' agent at the time, and he put it on loudspeaker so I could hear. I think he was trying to show off, like, look who I know. But I know Fabregas' loyalty bonus was massive. He was one of the first players, I think, at Arsenal to get his wages backdated when he signed a new contract. When he signed that 6-year deal, the reason he signed for so long is because he got his wages backdated to when he signed the previous contract as a form of loyalty bonus, and they obviously agreed a loyalty bonus going forward, which was pretty big. So, for example, say he was on 40 grand a week and he signed for 100. He got the 60 grand a week difference in a lump sum for the time of his previous contract. Someone recently told me that's quite standard now, but I'm not sure how true that is, so I wouldn't want to comment on that. Anyway, Fabregas refused to hand in a transfer request, but was pretty much refusing to play. He didn't exactly go on strike. Well, he did go on strike. It just wasn't public because it wasn't in Arsenal's interest to release it either, because when the transfer fee would go down. Obviously, if he was useless to us because he was refusing to play, the clubs know they don't have to offer as much money. So he did, in all intents and purposes, force his way out, but he looked after himself in doing it by not handing a transfer request to receive all the money he was due to receive, refusing to play, which could have massively weakened Arsenal's position, which is why Arsenal were really under wraps about keeping that quiet. A lot of people question why we didn't sign him 3 years ago when he went back when he came back to England and went to Chelsea. And a lot of people say, it's Wenger's fault. He could have got him, and he could have got him. The option was there for us to buy him, no issues. I think he'd have been quite open to the return because he had some very good times at Arsenal. It made him the player he is, I would argue. But Wenger has washed his hands with him. Some might say it was a stubborn decision, but if I put myself in that position after knowing what Fabregas had done, I wouldn't have signed him back either. So, yeah, Wenger completely dismissed the idea. As I said, he saw him like a son, and he feels like he was betrayed by him, and he was unwilling to take him back, especially knowing what he was capable of. Who's to say if he had another brilliant 2 years and someone else came calling, the same thing wouldn't happen. So, yes, we could have signed him again. yes, it was Wenger that rejected the chance. So when fans say, I heard it a lot at the Community Shield when we were booing Fabregas, people saying, "Oh, don't blame him, blame Wenger. He wanted to come back." But I mean, when you look at the situation, I hold no blame for Wenger there. You may disagree. So yeah, that's where we're at with that one, really. Their relationship's gone. They still don't talk pretty much. They may have handshakes after game and a little chat, but for someone that was like a father figure, so to speak, in the way that Alex Ferguson was for Cristiano Ronaldo, you can see they still speak and have good times now. Wenger and Fabregas, I doubt will ever be like that again. So yeah, there's a reason behind him going and how he went and the circumstances, and also why we didn't re-sign him. Any thoughts, views, comments, leave them. I'll try to get back to you. I will do a piece on Oxlade-Chamberlain later. It's not so much involving his move. Well, it is involving his move. I can't tell you if it's going to happen or not, but it's just some of the circumstances surrounding it. So I'll release that for you later. Hope you enjoy this piece. Cheers. Bye.